This person is incredibly handsome, incredibly funny, stellar, quite honestly. One that everybody looks up to, everybody really likes. You know, he just brings an air of love to the room. So, if you will please help me in welcoming Nathan Olson. If you read this out loud, I'll kill you. He's gonna do a stand-up.
You can take it off if you want.
Can I?
Yeah.
I don't want to though.
Okay.
How do I work this? I'm not going to use it. I can project.
Yeah.
And there's an audio recording of this travesty of a performance. Oh, that was too. Hello. All right. So as you heard, I'm going to attempt to do stand-up. And when I was preparing for this about an hour ago, I thought, I don't have any jokes, so I'll break it down into 2 easy steps. First, stand-up. That's pretty good. And then comedian. So I thought, okay, I'll look at all the comedians I know. So I was like, John Mulaney, and that's it. and I was like, okay, that's a good start. I think I have this. And I noticed that to be a successful comedian, you either need to do 2 things. Either dress really formally or go the Robin Williams route and dress really goofy. So this is my normal attire, so I figured I'm on a good start. And you also need 2 other essential items. A stool that the comedian never sits on and uses it as a table, and a water bottle that he never drinks from unless he's doing very poorly. So I'll be drinking from this a lot tonight. So a little bit about myself. If you haven't met me, you've probably seen me because I am not an inconspicuous person. Redheaded, 5'12", you know, I get around. If you make a political opinion, I'll probably interject because that's my duty as a libertarian and econ major. So I decided to major in money so I could see other people succeeding while I'm struggling to get by with my major. Well, a little bit about me, a little bit more about me. I was born at a very young age. I was born in Orlando, Florida. So I hope that makes me a Florida man. I'm still waiting for it to happen. Maybe I'll power up one day and suddenly I'm you'll see me on the news getting a meth squirrel, but that's an Alabama thing. Something else. I think I do have the Florida man genes within me though, because my dad is definitely a Florida man. In his early days, he hit a giraffe with a monorail. This is a true story. Also, I'm gonna show this to my parents afterwards, so he can verify. He was working at Busch Gardens, and it was his first day on the job. And he was like, I can drive the monorail, this will be fine. And there's a zoo at Busch Gardens, at least in Tampa. And they didn't teach him how to put the brakes on, so he's just chugging along at 15 miles an hour. And then he sees a giraffe in front of him, and he's like, I don't know what to do about this. And he doesn't know that there's a horn either to scare it away. So at 15 miles an hour, he just into the giraffe. And then the giraffe kind of scampered off because he hit him in a body shot. It was a hanging monorail. And so that's definitely a pro-Florida man move. My brother is also definitely a Florida man, but he's more of the bodily harm function. When we were living in Tennessee, he played football. I also played football. I played left bench. And my brother, I think he was at one of my games, but it's his story. So he went to go catch one of the footballs that rolled onto the field, and another kid his age also was running after the football. And they were coming. That's not part of the act. They were coming Naruto running at the ball. Both head down. They collided head on. The other kid had a concussion and had to stay out for a week. My brother got up and walked away. I think that's a Florida man move. So I'm hoping that eventually I can become the Florida man. So I'm also, I didn't live in Florida that long, so maybe that's why the delay is. I mean, my brother lived the same amount of time in Florida as I did, but he got it first, It's because he's better than me. But I moved to Richmond, Virginia. And every time, like, whenever I tell people, I'm a Southerner, I'm from Richmond, they always correct me and they tell me, no, Richmond, Virginia is not the South. I think it's because they associate DC in the area. But like, I can get sweet tea in the restaurants, so like, I think that's the South.
Also, if you check your history, the capital of the South was Richmond. They saw Alabama and were like, we don't want to hang around with these idiots, and moved it to Richmond.
So I definitely think it's the South. I think the major thing, though, they don't think I'm Southerners for, is because I have a few strong opinions about Southern culture that don't jive. I don't like black-eyed peas. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. Like, New Year's, you eat those and stuff like that. I don't. Maybe it's not. Okay.
It's real.
I don't like grits.
What?
But wait, if you're blaming me for that, wait for this.
Some of you might know, I have like what's called a moderate opinion about Waffle House. And that's like a Southern institution that I wasn't aware of. Like, I mean, I know Waffle House existed, but I didn't realize that everyone loved it. And I don't know why people love it. Like, firstly, if one of the letters go out, it's Awful House, and that's an accurate description of the food there. And the quality of Waffle Houses, I'm surprised when all of the lights are on, or even if half the lights are on. It's also the only restaurant I've walked into thinking a crime scene just occurred, is occurring, and is going to occur after I leave, while I'm still in the restaurant. You can tell the quality of the restaurant, or quality of the Waffle House, by how many teeth the server have. So the less teeth, the better the quality food, apparently. You can't get better than trash though, so don't know about that. Finally, okay, I was talking to Sean Moore, some of you might know who he is, and he pointed out to me that FEMA, the people that do rescue operations in hurricanes, have a Waffle House index, where Waffle House 1 is, we're at full capacity, Waffle House 3 is it's doomsday, so they have the light menu going. And he used that as a good thing. I don't know of any scale where using the metric for weather severity is a positive. Like, nobody's like, yeah, it's a tornado outside, but Burger King's still going, so, it's not that bad. Like, that's not a good thing. Let's talk about something else now. You also think there's notes on here? There are, but I don't remember what any of them mean. I'm an econ major. Oh no, I already talked about that. I engineer money. And I want to make, so how am I going to make money as an econ major? I thought about teaching, and then I looked at teaching salaries. This is still back up. I'm just going to live with that. And so, I looked at teaching salaries, and that's not a good idea. I can't afford my mansion that I want and the Lamborghini. So I also thought I can intern at the Fed, and I have this foolproof way of making money at the Fed. So, if you might not know, the Federal Reserve is responsible for printing money. See, my comedy routine is also informational. So they have this money printing room, if Dr. Wilhite's taught me anything. So my goal is to get an internship at the Federal Reserve. And I'm gonna go in with 2 gym bags, because it'd be I work out, clearly with this body. And then I'll do that for a while to get them used to me coming in with bags. And one day, I'm going to walk into the money printing room with 2 empty duffel bags and walk out with no worries for the rest of my life. So I engineer money, and so I can say I'm kind of an engineer, but I've been told by the actual engineers that doesn't count. Because I don't do real math. I'll have you know, I was taking an econ test, and we had to do some basic addition, and that took me a solid hour to figure out what 2 plus 2 was. So I think we're real engineers. It's 5? Oh no. But I had one of my friends try to explain to me what the different engineers do. So a chemical engineer engineers chemicals, mechanical engineers make mechanics, I guess. Aerospace engineers make aerospace. But what does a civil engineer do? And apparently my mechanical friend told me they make targets. My mic's out. But I like to think that if there's a civil engineer, that implies the existence of an uncivil engineer. And I think those are the people that made campus, because there's some Mad Max style designs. Okay, the parking garage floods, and whether or not it's true that it was actually a student project, the fact that it's plausible that it was a student project is enough to say about the civil engineering department at this campus. You might not know, the basement's flooding now. It's been flooding for a year, 2. I think we should just move the swim team down. 2 years. Move the swim team down there. Just say it's intended design. Yeah. Okay, and now I'm gonna do Bible jokes because I'm running out of material. I call this humor with a side of heresy. As Vinny says. I won't make the Vinny joke. Okay. So did you know God likes baseball? It's in Genesis, in the big inning. Who's the shortest guy in the Bible? Most people think it's Zacchaeus. It's actually Nehemiah. Did you know Jesus drove a Honda but didn't like to talk about it? He did not speak of his own accord. And finally, Jesus said, "Come forth and receive salvation," but John came 5th and received a toaster. Why do I keep talking into us? So that's the end of my time, and I mean by that, it's the end of my jokes. So don't forget to tip your waitstaff. You've been a lovely audience. Thank you.